Hello, everyone, and welcome to Will's World True Crime Edition. I'm here with Miss Kathern Paige, Kathern Felton Page.
Hi, Will.
Yes, hi. How you doing? It's
I'm
so
good,
great
Will.
having you finally in the studio.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. I mean, this is the
It's an
big
honor.
league.
It's
This is the
no,
big
it's an
league
honor to
here.
have you
Being in
here.
a studio is an honor.
All right.
I have my home studio and I'm doing good with it, but
Oh
this is
yeah,
quite
hey,
an honor
you do a
to
great
be
job
on
with it.
your
Yes, you
show.
do a great job. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Well, of course we got Alan over here, and then we have Christy on at remote. She's there. Wait for everyone. All right.
Hey,
And
everybody.
Hi, Christy.
yeah,
Hello,
so
nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Christy. And thank you, Alan, for having me in your beautiful studio.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you coming in. I think it's great. Now, you also have your own live stream that you do, right?
I do, yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your live stream and so forth.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. So my name is Kathern Felton Paige, and I am a retired law enforcement officer from Wisconsin, and I have a master's in social work. And my specialty in social work was working with victims and survivors of domestic violence. So I would help the families with coping with what happened to their loved one, help the loved one in the domestic violence shelters to adjust and get out on their own and help with the counseling of what that involves, because it's a lot. And so I retired a few years ago officially, and I found that I just have more to say, and your Flagler voice.
Yes.
I felt like I wanted to keep using my voice, that I was too young to be fully retired. So I started building a program called Social Change Warriors. And my idea when I first built it back in 2020 over COVID was we couldn't be out in public. We couldn't do public speaking.
Right.
So let me have a way that the community can come together and we can do pre-recordeds and we can talk about issues that are very important to all of us. And it's a very bipartisan atmosphere. So it doesn't matter where you vote or how you feel about things. We want to have a bipartisan atmosphere where we can share ideas that help our community members. Because our community members can be suffering and we won't even know it because we're in our own little neighborhoods, on our own little streets. And we don't know what's going on with our neighbor. We don't know that someone's lost a loved one. Do we know that 10 miles from me is a missing child or a missing mother? We don't know that. So my goal was to open up the community to what was going on that we could all help with and be social change warriors and affect social change in our communities and also help those that have lost loved ones to tragedies.
Wow. Excellent. Wow. You do so much for the community. It's amazing. But yeah, I think there's one project that you're working on right now. I believe it's Miss Sarah Ebersole.
Yes.
That was disappearance around March 3rd, 2023.
Yes.
Can you talk more about it?
Yeah, thank you, Will.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing me to talk about Sarah, because Sarah was a lovely young woman, a mother. She had a 4-year-old child at the time that she disappeared. She has a lovely sister named Michelle who works tirelessly every day to find her sister.
I saw her postings, right?
Yes, she's on Facebook for all of you. We'll share that at the end, but you have to go to her Facebook because she posts daily. Our hashtag or her hashtag and my hashtag that I use as well is where is Sarah Ebersole?
Okay.
And she was at a party hanging out with some friends in Reddick, Florida, which is very close to Ocala.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were just being typical 26-year-olds, year olds. They were probably smoking a little pot for all I know, and having some drinks and listening to music. They were taking pictures.
Yeah, it doesn't mean to justify her missing or anything, or any harm to anyone.
Though, this is what happens, though, is that when young people suddenly go missing and they've been either doing some drugs or drinking, they get people victim blamed.
Right, of course.
And that is something I want to encourage you all to never do, because any of us can become a victim of a casual, I call it casual crime, because most crimes are not premeditated.
Of course not. No.
That's very rare. And so most times when people go missing or they're unalived, it's a crime of passion.
Right. When it comes to that, because it could be that, or it could be over drugs. It could be something
a drug
that
sale gone bad,
or a robbery, and
or
that's.
robbery.
But like you said, it's
or scary enough, dating.
Well,
dating online. We have to be very careful.
Will, that's why I don't date online. That's the biggest reason.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
I mean,
you never know who you're meeting, if it's real or not.
No, you have to be so careful.
Right,
But
right.
so we're not positive. Some people feel that Sarah knew these folks.
Okay.
Some people think she just met them casually that day and they invited her to this house party. So that the jury's kind of still out on how well she knew them. But still, she knew them. She trusted them well enough to go to this house party.
Right.
And it was literally 10 minutes from where she lived.
Right, right.
And they were posting on Snapchat.
Right.
There were pictures of her. And I've done several lives on Where is Sarah Ebersol with her sister Michelle. She's been kind enough to come on my show with me. We've walked through the entire situation from the minute Sarah last texted her saying, I'm going on a ride with some cowboys. I'm going to go have fun. I'm safe. Sis, don't worry about me. To silence at about 5 a.m. Silence.
Oh, boy.
And disappeared as if she disappeared into thin air.
Okay.
And the police have had very few leads. And I know both of you, having been in law enforcement, know that leads are important.
Yes.
But there was a terrible mistake made, and I'm not afraid to say this on live, by the Marion County Sheriffs.
Okay.
They treated it as if Sarah just ran off with some guy and was like hanging out and not telling her family where she was. So they didn't have urgency. And you know how important urgency to an investigation is.
Right.
Urgency is, we need that because we need evidence.
Right, of course.
And someone unalives her and you don't have urgency to the investigation, that evidence can go away. They can destroy it. They can hide it. It can be,
or it just degrades over time.
It degrades over time.
Right.
So there was no push or like, hurry up to find Sarah Ebersol in those first few weeks.
Yeah.
And that was devastating for her sister.
Right.
So her sister literally became a private investigator.
Okay.
Not by license, but
I know what you're saying. Yes,
by my own volition, I'm going to become a private investigator and praise Michelle because she has done amazing work to try to find her sister. She's uncovered evidence. She's found trucks that were on missing flyers for a year that should have never been on a missing flyer for a year. We have a person of interest now, which we didn't have, 2 years when it first happened. A year into it.
Okay.
So is this one of the guys that was in the truck with her?
No, it wasn't. It was
it's
actually
the guy with the fiance, I believe.
Right. It's Tyrone Mormon. And I can say it because it's a public record.
Yeah.
So Tyrone Mormon, he and I have chatted like this before. I keep asking him to please tell the truth.
Right.
I know it's scary. I know you're afraid. I personally think this is a theory, but I think someone's threatening him. There's no other reason why. He was never in trouble. He didn't have a violent history. There's no motive for him to unalive Sarah.
And why would you think that someone's putting a little bit of pressure on him?
Because Sarah in her past was with someone that was violent towards her.
Okay.
And this is all on record as well.
Okay.
So the father of her child, Joe, was very violent towards her.
Okay.
And there had been restraining orders. There had been court hearings, custody battle for the child. Very bizarre behavior that was proven in text messages that Michelle was able to uncover. Where he was being very narcissistic behavior towards her, gaslighting her, on and on and on for the whole 4 years of this child's life. She was co-parenting with a very violent human.
I have a question because since he's violent and he has a history of violence, and also I'm trying to put it out there, but let's say her profession, maybe that could make him a little bit more of a jealous person, and he could be more of a suspect, I would say.
Yes, and when he mentions her profession, Sarah was an exotic dancer.
It doesn't matter, like I say, she's someone's mother, someone's child. So
right.
It doesn't
Finding
matter.
a missing person should have nothing.
It has absolutely nothing to do with it. I was just thinking about how the
I know
the different
you're on the right track, but the Marion County Sheriffs were not on the right track.
Oh Lord,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they put her in
you.
that box like an exotic dancer. She runs around with dangerous people. Possibly this is her own fault. She should know better than to be, going with strangers. The whole victim blaming.
That's how a lot of serial killers would get away. I had a guy on here previously that no one seemed to have cared about. This was in the 80s, and he caught the serial killer. And I don't know if you saw that, but of course, the police never even went to these places like strip clubs or illegal venues. And what do you call it? That would have been the first step. But they have to have the motivation to want to do it, and thinking, hey, it's not the victim's fault.
Right.
Just say, hey,
they're stereotyped.
Of course.
Because she was a exotic dancer, then she must be wild. She must be a party girl. She must be this. She must be that. So they neglected to do the proper investigation into Joe. And in the meantime, Joe had all these weeks to clean out his hotel rooms, to move out of his hotel rooms, to break into the hotel room office. This is on a police report, Joe. You know, I can say this. He broke into a hotel room, you know you did, and you stole the keys and you changed the locks on 2 hotel rooms, Joe. Why did you change the locks on 2 hotel rooms? You've never answered that question. You refuse to answer that question. Why would any normal person have 2 hotel rooms in the first place? And why would you change the locks on them, prohibiting the owners, the managers from getting into those? And then you're evicted.
How does he tie in with Tyrone? Like, how does Tyrone know Joe?
That's a good question. We have yet to figure that out. Those of us.
Did he ever go to the club that she worked at? Maybe he met her.
That's why I think the connection there comes in. Yeah.
I think that's a great theory, and I think you're right about that. I think they did all know each other.
Right.
And they couldn't do surveillance at the club to see if this guy has ever been here. I mean, we're only talking about 2 years ago, and there's cameras on everything now and monitoring that.
Exactly. So
there's nothing.
So much. Here's the main problem: is that Marion County sheriffs, for whatever reason,
Okay.
they don't want to tell us anything. They won't share with Michelle the progress of the investigation. They had a missing flyer that was not appropriate. It had a bad picture of Sarah on it with all the pictures of Sarah that you've seen on my page.
Oh, they showed the picture
and on Michelle's page and on
her
everybody else's
profession or
page.
something. That's not right.
It wasn't a good
That's
picture.
not, well, it's not right.
It didn't depict her very accurately. And then there was the truck.
Right.
The truck, which had been ruled out
Okay.
months and months prior, still on the missing flyer. So you've got innocent civilians trying to help find Sarah, looking for this truck, which that puts the owner of that truck at danger. Because the owner of the truck wasn't a suspect.
Wasn't even a suspect.
He was cleared.
Right.
And so here you got this truck, like, oh, big bad black truck. You know, we're looking for this truck. We're looking for Sarah. No, you're not looking for that truck.
Right.
Because that truck was completely cleared months prior.
Now, do you know, of course,
can you tell me get upset about this?
Oh, yes, of course. But you know,
it's emotional to me. I want this young woman brought home to her family in the worst way.
Well, it makes no sense.
There's one method. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I said it makes no sense. This girl just goes missing and nobody has anything except for a guy that's not telling the truth. And no one's like telling anybody what's
telling the truth.
They just have to put a little heat on them. And and also there's another method I can't say online or, you know, that should have been applied at the moment that happened.
Yes.
Have they ever asked Tyrone if he's been at that club?
What did you say, Chris?
Have they ever asked him if he's actually been at that club and met her prior to her missing?
I would assume they have, but again, they won't even take Michelle's phone calls. They wouldn't even release the redacted police report to Michelle.
Because it's the open investigation.
But they released it to me.
Oh,
I wrote to them and said, I'm a former law enforcement officer. I'm a social worker. I'm advocating for Michelle and her child, and I mean Michelle's niece and Michelle's sister. Please let me see the redacted police report. And they did. They sent it to me.
Okay.
And what I've garnered in there is that Tyrone was eventually arrested after he became a person of interest.
I saw that.
What he was arrested for was not telling the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Obstructing a police investigation.
And throwing away the cell phone or claiming.
So what did he not tell the truth about?
So what he didn't tell the truth about, my dear, is that he said that his phone, they wanted his phone because they already told him up front, hey, we have Bubba's phone. And that's one of the guys she was partying with, James Robinson. We have James' phone. And we know that you and James were texting each other about hanging out with Sarah. So we know that, Tyrone. Yes. So we need to see your phone. Oh, my phone's lost.
He doesn't want to talk about that because he is engaged too. But, you know,
and you know what?
Deeper.
You're right about that. Though. Okay, it could be the only reason.
Yeah, I don't know about that being the only reason, but I'm just
right. He could be embarrassed. I don't want my fiance to find out that I was going to go hook up with an exotic dancer, allegedly.
Allegedly,
right?
we don't know.
So that could be why he lied. Because he did lie.
Because there are phone records between him and
he knows he lied. So I'm not saying anything bad, Tyrone.
No,
you know he lied. Tyrone's mom.
That happens.
You know he lied. So that's the problem. Is that why are you lying? You know, this is someone that you obviously liked and that disappeared. Wouldn't you want to be doing everything you could to help find her?
Not if he was part of it.
Why are you taking down the missing flyers, Tyrone?
He could be afraid. He could be afraid of thinking of anything that can happen, repercussions, because even his fiance in the recording, I heard that she seemed a bit evasive, said that he's a good guy, which he, you know, hey, a good guy, good person in a bad position.
How many other good guys unalive people all the time?
Yeah, well, you know, it can happen, but we're just talking about from that perspective.
Good people
it was more
make mistakes.
Yeah, when you, let's say if I were to question you about something and say, hey, well, what happened to, you know, Hamburger Mike? And you say, well, he's not dead or something like that. I'm like, it's a little suspicious. I don't know.
Will, do you
They're
think
just
that
certain questions.
maybe she might have
He's not wrong
overdosed or
about that, 'cause
something?
Okay, that's what
yeah,
I'm
he's not
getting
wrong
at.
about that, my dear, because he's caught on video saying that. What do you mean she's missing?
You're right.
Do you think she
It's
possibly could have maybe overdosed on something and they freaked out and they got rid of her
you
body?
still find a body somewhere, some sign of
Well, and that
something.
brings me to my next question. As far as a search, especially in that area, what have they done so far to find this woman?
They've done some searches. Michelle actually was able to connect with a volunteer group over there, and I can't. Oh shoot, I can't remember their name. I should have memorized it.
I'm sorry.
It's on Michelle's page.
Okay.
They connected with the volunteer group over in Ocala area, in Marion County area, and they had dogs. So they had the search and rescue dogs, the cadaver dogs. I hate
right?
saying that word.
I know.
Sucks, but that ultimately there's only two things that could have happened to Sarah Ebersol. They overdosed her by mistake, because she didn't do drugs. So giving her drugs she didn't do, and she overdosed. They panicked, and they hit her body. Number two, they helped traffic her. And
Yes,
she
and
is
that's
still
another
out
thing.
there,
That's
and
what I'm
she's
wondering.
alive, and she's been trafficked. So those are the only two possibilities. Or the third possibility, those are the only two surrounding those people, because those 5 people she was partying with, the 4 of them, they never, I guess there were 4 total. It was Tisha, James, and James Schaller, and Sarah. There were just 4 of them partying together until Tyrone showed up, and that's 5.
Right.
None of them had a motive to unalive her. There was no motive.
And none of them
There
probably
had been a
took
motive to-
toxicology reports or anything, like, because it was 6 days
No.
after she got reported. Although drugs stay in your system for 30.
Right. Well,
Some do, yeah.
They
Some
all
do.
admitted that they were doing some drugs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was all self-admitted by Bubba, Tisha, James Schaller. They all admitted they were doing drugs, and and Sarah's sister Michelle swears that she did not do hard drugs. That maybe occasionally some pot, and she drank wine and beer. And I believe Michelle. She has no reason to lie about her sister's drug or alcohol intake, because that doesn't help.
No, but
find
somebody
It
could have
doesn't
slipped
do
or something
anything.
too. Like, you know,
Yeah, they could have, or they could have just talked her into trying something. 'Cause
Yep.
you know,
That's
peer
true.
pressure
It
is
happens.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Right.
Sad, yeah.
So let's just say scenario 1. This group of folks talked her into trying a drug, and I'm talking about possibly meth or fentanyl,
Either
or
one.
maybe the meth was laced with
Either
fentanyl and
one,
they didn't know it. And she'd never done that before, and she OD'd, and they panicked, and they put her somewhere. That's the
but
scenario.
there's
1.
no water around where she was either, no bodies of ponds or anything.
Not anywhere
Oh,
super close. There's water all around. You know, it's Florida.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
gosh, yeah.
There could be.
I was
water.
talking about where she went missing at. Yeah.
Nearby. Michelle's been out in her kayak, looking for her, looking for any remains or any.
What's her
physical-
ex's alibi for that night?
We don't know, because the Marion County Sheriff will not tell us. They've told me over the phone. I've talked to the sergeant, I've talked to the detective, I've talked to lieutenant. They've told me over the phone he has an alibi, but they won't tell us what it is. I don't totally buy it. I have to tell you this. I just don't totally buy
Well,
it.
yeah, because if it's rock solid alibi, you should be able to share that information with the family of the person who's missing.
Exactly. Why is Michelle having to be forced to be in trauma? And now this person, Joe, has actually taken out a restraining order against her.
Oh, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay.
She shared it on her Facebook. She can't speak about him.
Well, they
I can
granted
speak
that.
about
They
him.
granted a restraining order?
And guess who testified?
Oh.
The detective.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Wow.
Why? Right? This makes zero sense. That's
Somebody knows somebody?
It is, yeah. He must know someone, yeah.
He has to.
He has to.
He has to, guys. And not only that, 2 weeks after Sarah went missing, Joe beat a man nearly to death at the hotel, at the storage
Same
locker
one.
facility.
That's right.
Did you see that? Same Joe.
Yes.
And he went to jail, and then he's just released. I don't even know if he was on probation. I have to dig into that a little more. But he's been a person of interest in several other cases in Florida.
Right.
And I'm talking about scary.
I thought was there
stuff.
someone in Tennessee too? I played somewhere
And
else.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Kentucky.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I was reading about this too, and I saw that Nancy Grace actually did an episode on this, which brought some new evidence to light. And I'm surprised with all of everything she does that nothing has, she didn't have any other resources that she could give you guys to help push this along a little bit and get some answers. I mean, she's all about getting answers.
Yes, she is.
I think
How did her
really a sign.
episode help you?
I'd have to ask Michelle that, to be honest with you. For me personally, to me personally, as a local grassroots live streamer and advocate, I think it helped just by getting some national attention.
Yeah,
on
she's
it.
iconic.
Right, because she's
Yeah.
iconic, and you just never know that there might be another retired officer like one of us, right, that wants to look into this, who has more star power than any of us have, and maybe they know a private investigator who has more star power that can actually get into this, and because they have that license to practice, right? They have a private investigator's license.
The licenses.
They have the ability to get more information than I can just as an advocate, as a retired law enforcement officer.
I don't know. Maybe the beginning would be more like trying to get into that little group there because it's a tight-knit circle.
Yes.
And
tight.
Also maybe at the location she was working at, I'm not going to say, but in the location she was working at, maybe if they have someone to get into the, undercover part, and maybe because they're obviously running drugs. So if you can kind of get into that and find out where the drugs are being funneled, there's going to be other stuff, and they're repeating the same activity and the same type of, let's say, event that may have happened.
Right.
And I really hope that she's still with us. But yes,
the trafficking right now in our country is abysmal.
Horrible.
Yes, it is.
It's terrifying. We should all be terrified if we have a daughter or even a son, a child, anybody between the ages of like 9 and 18.
That's correct.
We should be terrified.
Yes.
Because there's way more going on than people realize. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but I have social work.
You're a realist.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a realist, and thank you. I have friends that work in this field of recovering girls and boys that have been trafficked, and it's terrifying. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but Amy Bradley's story came back into the limelight the last few weeks. Have you seen that?
Yes.
You have?
Yes. I love true crime stuff, so I'm all about it.
I don't believe for a minute she fell off that ship.
I don't think she did either.
No, come on.
And now they're talking about trying to get a law passed called Amy's alarm or something like that, where alarm is sound so that nobody can get off the ship.
Oh, okay.
If they wouldn't have allowed anybody off that ship,
you've been fine, right?
They would have found Amy Bradley.
Of course.
Because she was smuggled off that ship. No doubt in my mind about it. I think you guys agree.
You know what the craziest thing is, though, when people say trafficking, you think of like a group of kids going, like, just to pick one person out of a field of kids and stuff. Is that really common? Or I thought they like throw a whole bunch of them if they can grab them. Like, or is one person taking one person at a time?
Right, because if you think about it, though, on a cruise ship, if more than one person goes missing, then you got eyes on that, right?
I'm talking about more like Sarah's case.
Well, in Sarah's case, they can. I mean, typically, if you are a lady of the evening, if you're out walking the street doing your thing, you're very much in danger.
Right, you're in danger because they assume that, let's say, the person is either a drug user, their family is not, she doesn't have family support, which she has family support. She wasn't a drug user.
Exactly.
You can do whatever,
Did she ever do stuff outside the club, or she just worked at the club?
You have to say, hey, gosh, just go ahead and go after her.
Do you know if she did?
So let's make that clear. Traffickers are cowards.
Right. So they got the easiest target. Right.
They target the weak, the easiest targets, and they will target runaways because they're not with their families. They don't have anywhere to go. They're living on the streets, or they're living with other people that aren't safe.
That's right.
In Sarah's case, I mean, trafficking for me is the third option because I don't see it.
It sounds like something with the truck.
I still feel that you're too. I hate to say best options because I hate that, and I want Sarah to be alive. I want her to be able to be with her daughter and her sister and her family. It breaks my heart every day that I've known about Sarah and Michelle. And hi, Michelle, and I'm so sorry for everything. And you are amazing. If you are watching this, you're an amazing advocate for your sister. Nobody has worked harder, in my opinion. I've seen so many families that work hard, but Michelle, it's 24/7. She's 24/7 to find her sister.
That's amazing.
I think it had to have either been drugs gone wrong. They gave her drugs that they shouldn't have.
That's what I'm
thinking. And she passed of that. And then they panicked.
They're saying they left the party in this truck, and they're saying they dropped her off at home, but no one actually saw her at home. Is that?
Well,
I'm just
trying to.
It's called there's
a lot of things out there. She didn't leave in a truck. So from what we can garner from the witness statements, is that she left in a blue vehicle that was exactly described as the vehicle that Tyrone Mormon's girlfriend owned at the time.
It was like a Hyundai or something.
Oh,
right?
geez.
It was like a Hyundai.
Right,
it was
right,
blue.
right.
The two of the witnesses said it was a blue Hyundai. They thought James called Tyrone over. They were texting, come over. So we know he came over. We know it was in that blue car. He didn't have another car. And those are the things we know. And we also know that Tyrone's phone and Sarah's phone pinged together at approximately 4 or 4:30 at the same gas station where she was picked up by Bubba's friends.
And that's what I want to ask you without asking
The
you
truck
that.
guys
Okay,
are
fine.
not
That's
suspects.
fine. Okay,
They've been
yeah.
cleared.
Okay.
So the truck she rode from the gas station to the party, he was cleared a long time ago.
Okay.
It was getting from the party back home. And I guess originally she was going to call an Uber. But then that changed because Bubba said, oh, no, Tyrone, this is what Bubba said in his interview. And I have those. So if you ever want to have me back,
I have
definitely.
those
interviews.
Has he taken a polygraph, Tyrone? And that's how they knew he was lying, or they were just
consent to a
no
polygraph.
He didn't consent to a polygraph.
Yeah,
He
he's
won't
not gonna
even
consent
tell
to
us where he won't even admit he drove Sarah, even though he knows his phone pinged.
Yes.
His family and his friends are still saying that that's not true, that that's false GPS. It's like, no. This is technology, people. This is modern technology. You have a phone because it can protect you at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not just
It's
there for
double-edged
your
sword
scrolling.
too, but yeah, if
you
do
get in
wrong.
trouble and something bad happens to you, it's going to show us where you are, where you last used that phone, where it was last turned on, and people.
I'd be curious to see how long he had that phone for too, if he was using burner phones or whatever. Because if he was doing something,
a burner phone, you can still ping it though. Oh yeah, there are ways.
Burner phones.
I can't say it. Yeah, I won't say it on. Yeah, but
this
either
was
way.
his private phone that he had that night. I mean, he was texting Bubba. Bubba was texting him with his phone. It's been proven, admitted by the police that Tyrone Mormon is a person of interest because his phone pinged with Sarah. That's just fact.
Yeah.
And so tell us, where did you drive her? That's all we're asking. Sarah, we've been asking this for 2 years since he became a person of interest. Where did you drive Sarah? Where did you drop her off? Because wherever you dropped her off, if you didn't unalive her, wherever you dropped her off, that person did. And there's not a lot of suspects.
Where did her phone last ping at?
At the gas station in Reddick where she was picked up. Where she met Bubba originally. It's the gas station on the corner there. Is that 441?
441, right.
Right. I've been there.
Not too far from 75.
I drove over and around the area. I met with Michelle. I did a standout with Michelle asking for Tyrone to please tell the truth, because that's all we've got right now.
I don't even know Michelle, but I want to help her. This is horrible.
It is horrible.
I have a question that I'm wondering if anyone's checked into, and maybe they haven't. I know it's far-fetched, but
bring it.
Well, does anyone have a CDL license in that group, the males that were there that night?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's a major truck route.
Right.
Yeah.
The location is known for truckers.
Yep.
That's 75 north and south. And also you could take I-10 west. You can go anywhere. You can go all the way to California. You can go to Texas, go south, Mexico.
So are you thinking that
Trafficking,
possibly
maybe, or
Tyrone dropped her off at the gas station because she said, just drop me off here, I'll walk home from here?
Could be.
And then
she could have gone somewhere with a trucker.
Randomly kidnapped?
It could have been randomly kidnapped in traffic.
Or she thought she was getting a ride home and it turned awry.
Why did her phone just stop?
These are
right at that moment, right?
Or like say, if someone has a CDL license in that group, they could be the one that's involved.
To take her phone from her though, right? If you're going to try to kidnap someone and say, hey girl, I'll give you a ride, get my truck. You're not going to take her phone like that minute.
Well, no.
Because you're not going to want her to think you're a bad guy that quick.
But
so you're going to wait a little while before you disarm her of her phone.
That's
in
true.
my opinion.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she could have been engaged in what she was doing and not use her phone either for it to be pinged.
Well, I'm thinking about trafficking. The first thing a trafficker would do was get rid of the phone.
Yep.
You throw it in the truck. There's plenty of space.
Sure.
And then let's say if it's one of those trucks that go through the easy pass there where you don't have to go for inspections.
But then we're coming back around to number one.
Right.
She wasn't trafficked like that. They're involved.
Right. They're involved.
Okay?
That's what I'm saying.
They're involved.
That's why I asked if someone in the group has a CDL license.
Totally agree. Yes.
That's why I said I was kind of curious.
So it wasn't a random Sarah just got picked up by a trucker. This was they're involved.
This trucker's a part of the group let's say one of the guys.
And they went to that gas station and then that's where she got handed off, possibly.
Yes.
But not at the gas station because they would have had surveillance.
That's right.
But that's where their phones last pinged claimed was near the gas station.
And it's dark
in
in that area. There are no like real street lights.
Right. Law enforcement said near the gas station.
And so now her sister Michelle has a restraining order against the ex-husband, but what about Tyrone? There's nothing there.
Other way around.
Yeah,
he has a restraining order against her.
Yeah, that's why I said he has one against her because he doesn't want her talking about him lying because obviously there's some holes in his story and Tyrone's, and somehow they might know each other.
I've been waiting for him to come after me, to be totally honest with you, because everything I've said about him is public record. His being a person of interest in these other crimes, including the one in South Florida when a small child was unalived, a 6-year-old child, he was a person of interest. He refused to give his DNA sample.
Well, if they're going to silence you, they're going to have to silence us. They're going to have to silence Nancy Grace. They're going to have to silence everyone who's covered this story.
Guess what? He tried to silence Nancy Grace.
What? No, you ain't going to silence Nancy Grace.
Oh, no, he's all that in a bag of chips, according to him. He thought he could silence Michelle going on the Nancy Grace show. That's why he did what he did. There's no doubt in my mind.
Obviously, he has something to hide because if you're innocent, you wouldn't care.
Right.
You wouldn't care. And you'd be out there working with Michelle as she is the aunt of your child.
And that's your mother, the mother of your child.
Why aren't you letting this child see her family? You keep her in a silo. She doesn't get to see any of Sarah or Michelle's
That's horrible.
family. She's
That's
in
horrible.
a silo. She has no family, no one. She just has him, and that's it.
Well, I'm sorry. I have to cut it short, unfortunately.
Okay.
We're at
a
time.
We have to have her back on.
For being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Alan. And
thank you so
please,
much.
Everyone, if you can on your social medias, hashtag Where is Sarah Ebersol? Go to Michelle Crystal Tullis's Facebook page. She updates daily. You can find out everything you need to know. Please join me. I'd love to have you at Social Change Warriors. I'm actually advocating for 13 other victims right now whose cases are not solved and whose families are in torment. So please help us out. Be a social change warrior. Be a Sarah's soldier. If you're here in Florida, in the Volusia, Marion, Jacksonville area, we really need you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, everyone. And if you have any information, any tips, anything you want to give, even if you can send it to Flagler Voice.
And there's a reward.
Anything.
$20,000.
$20,000 reward.
Yes.
Just anything
any
you can help on this topic. But thank you, everyone. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We'll keep this going because I would love to have you again. Okay.
Love to be back
That's
again.
Great. Thank you. All right.